In Lesson 1, we're going to learn about functions. We're going to learn what a function is, what the benefits of using functions are, and we're going to learn how to use the sum function. In Excel 2010 Basic Level 1, we learned how to calculate the sum of a column of numbers by simply adding up all of the individual numbers. We even learned how to take the average of those numbers by adding them all up and then dividing by the total number of cells. Now that's the hard way to do it. In this lesson, I'm going to show you an easier way to calculate a sum or an average of an entire range of numbers using something called a function. Now, I firmly believe in learning how to walk before you learn how to run. And that's why I wanted to show you the hard way in Level 1 first, to teach you how basic math calculations work. This way, when we get to functions, you'll have a better appreciation for how and why they work. Now let's take a quick look at an example of why you want to use functions. Let's type in some numbers into column A. 50, 65, 70, and 90. Now in Level 1, we learned that if you wanted to add those four numbers together, you'd type in the following equation, equals A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4, and then press enter, and there's our total, 275. Now this works fine if I only have 4 numbers to add, or even 10. But what if I have 40 numbers in my column, or 400, or 4,000? You can see that doing it this way can be very cumbersome with large blocks of data. I don't want to sit here typing in A5 plus A6 plus A7 plus A8 and so on. That'll take all day. So there has to be an easier way. There has to be a quicker way to add up an entire column of numbers. To do that, we can use a function. In Excel, a function is a built-in formula that is generally designed to make it easier to perform complex calculations on sets of data. Now I say generally because most functions have this purpose, although there are some specialty functions that do different tasks. But for now, we're just concerned on the functions that make it easier for us to perform complex calculations. For example, some of the most popular functions are sum, average, max, min, and count. Sum will add up the values in a range of cells. Average will calculate their average. Max finds the largest value. Min the smallest. And count tells you how many values are in that range. Now there are literally thousands of different functions that are built into Excel. There are functions for working with text strings, calculating mortgage payments, statistical analysis, and lots more. We will cover most of those functions in our intermediate and advanced series. For today, we're going to focus on these 5 basic functions. One of the easiest functions to use, and one of the most popular, is the function sum. Now, if it helps you to visualize it this way, think of the sum function as a little blue box. It's got a hole on the top and a hole on the side. Now you're going to take all the numbers that you want to add up, let's say 50, 6, 25, 13. You're going to dump all of those numbers into that hole on the top of the box. You're going to shake the box up, and then the sum function does its calculations and spits out the correct sum of those numbers, in this case 94. In other words, the sum function takes in all of the numbers that you want to add up, and then it returns or spits out the correct sum of those numbers. So for our example here, I'd like to use the sum function to add up all of the values from A1 down to A4, and then put the result here in A5. So let's delete this calculation that we have here in A5. I'll press the delete key. And let's replace it with a sum function. Now remember, every formula or calculation, including functions in Excel, begin with an equal sign. You have to start with that equal sign. Then type in the word sum, S-U-M. Now notice a little drop-down box appears right here. You can see different functions that begin with the letters S-U-M. There are other functions that are related to sum, like sum if, and sum ifs, and sum product. Don't worry about those right now. We just want the basic sum function from the top of this list. Next, open parenthesis, and then inside of parentheses, you're going to type in or select the range of cells that you want to sum up. I will select them with the mouse. I'll grab my mouse and select A1 through A4. But if you want to, you can just type in A1 colon A4 there. Then close your parentheses and press enter. And now you see the same result, but this result was gathered using a sum function instead of just adding up all those numbers. And you can see it right up here in the formula bar. Sum A1 through A4. Now again, one of the major benefits of using a function instead of typing in all the values individually is that this will work with a very large block of cells. For example, I could have very easily typed in A1 through A5000 to add up a very large range of cells. But I don't want to do that, so I'll just press escape on my keyboard to back out of that. Another benefit is that if I insert additional rows inside of that range, the formula will automatically be updated. For example, if I insert a row in front of row 3, I'll right-click and go to Insert. Notice a blank row is there. I can type in a new value here, let's say 15, and press Enter. Notice that my function down here has automatically been updated. It says A1 through A5. If you insert a row inside of a range, it will automatically update the range for you. Likewise, if you delete a row inside of a range, notice again how the range is automatically updated. Now it's back to A1 colon A4. If you had done this with the old method, equals A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4, and let's say you insert a row now and put a value in here, notice how the sum function has automatically updated itself, A1 colon A5, but the old manual method doesn't include that new cell. It says A1 plus A2 plus A4 plus A5. It doesn't know about A3. That's because we've just added up individual cells here. So when adding up a range of cells, the best method to use is, of course, the sum function.